One evening, Bogo was heading off to the mainland with a goods train that's heading towards a yard on the mainland on the other railway where only the diesels work. I'm fine, driver. Come on, Boko, we must check your engine. No, I'm fine. But Boko was heading for trouble. Up ahead, a diesel from the other railway was heading out of the yards back to the mainland. As he was crossing, Boko came out of nowhere and derailed him and the diesel off the rails. The diesel was cross. "You silly grey engine! Now I have to take the express. I'm gonna be stuck here thanks to you." "Sorry," said Boko. "Oh dear," said the signalman. "What we're gonna do now?" Fortunately for him, he found James on a siding doing nothing. He came up to the red engine and his crew. "Excuse me, beg pardon, but Boko has derailed and he has to take a goods train to the other railway. Can you and your crew take it for him, please?" James eventually woke up. "What? Me? I'm sorry, but Of course we can, right, James?" said the driver. "Fine." James grumbled all the way to the yard in the mainland. "Really, a splendid red engine like me pulling a dirty train like this? Huh, this is a job for a tyke engine." His crew didn't pay attention. They were just too busy doing the driver and fireman work. James eventually arrived at the little yard. As he was heading to the station, he saw what looked like fans on the sidings. "Thank you for delivering this," said the station master. "I was worried that the train would not show up because of that diesel derailing." "No problem," said James's driver. "What do you want this lot? Just leave it out there. The shunter will come and shunt them out of the way for you. For a thank you for taking this train, there's a coal bunker and a water tower for you to fill up," he said. So James and his crew shunted the trucks out of the way for the diesel to take. And then they went to the coaling box and the water tower. As James was waiting impatiently for his tender to be filled up, he heard a voice. "I can't remember the last time I saw an engine here," said a voice. "Not in a bright color too." James was puzzled. He had never recognized that voice, and the only people that were around were him and his crew. And of course, the voice wasn't theirs. He then looked at the long line of diesels sitting on the siding. James didn't want to have any eye contact with them. But then the voice came back again. "You are quite a sight here," said the diesel. "I never seen a steam engine in over 20 years, not in a brighter color." James was obviously flattered about this. "Well, my controller has a taste when it comes to liveries." "Is that so? Where are you from?" "Sodor." "So that's why you sound familiar." James was confused. The next voice wasn't from the same diesel. He looked and see it was the second diesel that was behind the first diesel. And then he was shocked to find out who it was. "The diesel?" It was him. but not the same pernicious, devious diesel he and the other steam engines saw all those years ago. Then a third voice was heard. "Hello there, I'm Al." "Shut it, Alan. No one wants to hear your annoying voice." "Oh, sorry, Diesel." "You must forgive them. They're idiots." James was confused. "What are you doing here? In fact, what are all of you doing here? Why would this yard this small would need so many shunters?" "And who's there to say we were shunters here?" "And who said we were shunters here?" "What do you mean?" "If it wasn't clear from our conditions, we are no longer shunters. Not anymore. We've been put here to await our inevitable fates." "What fate?" "Oh, was that why you were not on his road for long, Diesel? He was that blind and brainless he was driving you insane?" James lashed out in fury. "For your information, that Diesel tried to frame one of our engines, but we found him out and kicked him off our island. You think I'm a steam engine? You have any right to insult me like that?" "I'm just baffled that based on what you see, you can't come to the obvious conclusion." "What obvious conclusion?" "That we're all gonna get scrapped, James." One moment, everything was silent. Then James started to laugh. The three Diesels gave no response. "Don't be so ridiculous. Do you really think you're on the same boat as our steam engines? Most of us are gone because of you Diesels. How can you be on any threat?" Then the first Diesel spoke. "That explains it all. You aren't brainless. You just don't know the truth. You think steam engines are just in fear of being scrapped, but Diesels, they get off free. Nothing for them to fear at all. For a time, I once thought the same thing. A few of us here did. We thought we will never be thrown away, and now we'll last forever, as long as we can function. However, the men in the workshops are always building, working to improve old designs or create new ones. And sometimes they came up with something that meets all their expectations, something that makes the old designs obsolete. And once they become obsolete, they are thrown away, sent off to the sidings to meet their demise, screaming for mercy. But no one was spared from the cutter's torch. It doesn't matter when there's steam or diesel or whatever. Simply, if there's something better than them, they'll be replaced or gone." I wish I was nice to those steam engines. The Diesel sighed. He went silent, waiting for a response from James. James didn't say anything. He couldn't deny it because it did make some sense. Railways always tried to be the very best they could be, either the motor power or goods traffic required. As he was thinking about his thoughts, Diesel was watching the red engine closely, and just knew what he was feeling. "If you still don't believe what the engine here is saying, how do you explain that over there?" He pointed to the left. James looked, and then He froze. What? What? What was on the ground couldn't be real. There, standing on the ground, stood the rusted remains of a diesel, the same kind as the one in front of him claimed. It was dirty. It was faceless. It had no wheels or buffers. It was nothing more than an empty shell. That poor engine was cut up 2 days ago. He accepted it, but only hoped it would be quick and painless. Unfortunately, that isn't how it goes. James looked at the shell, then back at the diesels. He couldn't believe what he could have been seeing. What he saw couldn't have been true. It was just no way it was. He looked at the long line of diesels. Most of them haven't spoken once, or even spoke to anything that has been said. James didn't make it public, but he wished that diesels also face the scrapyard. That way, they get a taste of their own medicine. He believed such a thing would never happen, but he still thought about it. Now he came up with the reality that what he wished for was happening, and yet it felt wrong. It was cruel and undeserved. Even for Diesel, what he did all those years ago was truly disgraceful. But this was too far as a punishment. No engine should never have to go through this. Just then, his driver fireman filled his tent up with cold water, and it was now time to leave. James looked back at the long line of diesels one last time, who just stared blankly back. Just as his driver opened the regulator, he said one last thing to the diesels. I'm sorry. Then James blew his whistle and he left. Well, we're finished. It looks like this is the end, guys. But I do not want to go. No one does, Alan. No one. But if it may be the last night we spend together, I thought it would be nice if we say goodbye, or at least goodnight. That sounds like a good idea to me. Well, good night, boys. Good night, Diesel, and goodbye, other one. Good night, brothers. In the middle of the night, something unexpectedly happened. Huh? Where are we? I have no idea. Welcome, you three, to your new home.